interested in the more esoteric studies and have access to our Astro module, it's also possible to create scripts based on any Astro event. So I'll show you an example using a show view. So I've got that at the top of my remembered tools there. So if I right click, go to the properties, I can, in the script editor window, if we start typing planet, you'll see all the options that we have available. So planetary value, use p-val, angles, aspects, etc. So I'm going to start off with p-val, which is planetary values. When I click on that text, this is where I can select which planet we want to look at. So let's do Venus and which planetary value. So from that drop down, by default it's going to use the longitude value in degrees, or I can select any of those other ones. I'm going to keep it at longitude in degrees and from a geocentric point of view rather than heliocentric. So I'm going to create a formula, a variable first. So P1 equals the longitude value of Venus, and then I want to show on the show view where Venus is greater or equal to 10 degrees and less than 30. So or greater than 130 and less than 150. So it's a range of angles where that planet will show up. So when I click apply, that's a true false condition, so we can change that to a shaded step. We can change the colors or the transparency. So I'm going to drop that down to about 50, and then what I can do with the show view is click and drag that over the price chart. So as we roll back, that shaded area will show you whenever Venus is within those particular longitudinal angles. Another example, I'll do a show bar. So what happened to my show bar? I'm not sure, but I can. What it's done, it's put it on the show view layer. So what I'm going to do, I'll just get rid of that overlay for Venus there, and I'll put on the show bar again and edit that script. So let's say I want to look at retrograde. So I've got planetary retrograde, use RL. So RL, hit enter, again click on the text and choose which planet we want to look at for retrograde. So by default Mercury is selected, so I'm going to keep it Mercury, and if I click apply now, it's going to put a bar on each candle, or sorry, put an arrow on each candle where Mercury is retrograde. But I don't just want to do that, I can just use the retrograde tool for that. I can look at particular moon phases as well. So I'll type moon and click on that, and I can select which phases I want. I just want new or full moon. So where both those conditions are true, an arrow will be placed on the chart. So as we zoom in there, you can see those two arrows. So that's highlighting when Mercury is in retrograde and there's a full or new moon. One other example I'll show you is based on Gann planetary lines. Now, for those of you unfamiliar, these GPLs basically takes the angle of the planet at any given point and converts that into a price and plots it on the chart, which are those red lines that you can see. If I zoom out, more will be added to the chart. But what we can do now is scan on those lines and in relation to the current price. So a lot of studies have been done, and there are theories out there that these can act as significant support and resistance levels. So it can be quite useful to run scans to show when price is within a certain distance of these lines that might warrant further attention. So what we've got here is the GPL for Mars on the chart, and I've also added a harmonic, so it's 180 degrees, so that dotted line is halfway between one rotation of Mars, so 360 degrees, and the harmonic is at 180, which is also known as the opposition aspect for the planets. So in this column, I've got it's called Mars. I've got a series of zeros and ones. So 0 is where the price is not close to the current GPL, and 1 is where it is close. So if I zoom in there to ADI, you can see that the price is bouncing right on that line currently, and so we might want to keep an eye on that to see if that is acting as support for ADI. So if I right click on that column, go to edit, this is the script that we're using. So P1 is the variable for p-val. It's taking the longitudinal value of Mars, and then the second variable G1 is GPA, and this is the Gann price angle property. So this is taking the price and converting it into a planetary angle, and then the aspects function is taking those two prices, so the two values, the price of ADI, and comparing it to the p-val, or the longitudinal value of Mars, and where they are in conjunction, which is the solid red line, or opposition, which is the 180 degrees away. So the thin dotted line on the chart, it will return a true result. And finally, that orb is the sort of the leeway. It's 20 degrees. So when it's within a certain distance, when the price is within a certain distance of the GPL, it will return a true or false result. So obviously we can adjust that. If we want to be closer, we'll make the value smaller, or if we want to have more leeway, we can increase it. But I'm going to keep it at 20 degrees there, and that will return that true false condition in the column. So as we scroll down, actually Bed Bath and Beyond was an interesting one. You can see here that this Mars line back in the end of 2014, or throughout 2014, acted as a pretty strong support as it rose up, and the opposition line at the moment, the 180 degree, earlier this year, you can see how it also has acted as support over the last several months. So may not be something that you've even considered or knew existed before, but this is a fascinating area of study, the advanced Astro tools that we have. So I encourage you to investigate further, and any questions, please let us know.